Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click like, subscribe, comment, share, and also don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, mapping your journey to self-discovery. She is an executive coach and creator of Soul Work Maps. Her passion is about guiding others towards self-discovery and empowerment. Believes that understanding one's unique life path fosters self-confidence and enables individuals to navigate challenges and with purpose and resilience. Let's welcome to the seance, Timi Gleason. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here, Dr. Paul.
And it's an honor because you have a awesome course system that we've yet to talk about in depth. So what is numerology?
Yeah, so numerology is actually a real thing that Pythagoras created, and Pythagoras was a real person 500 years before Christ. He was considered a human Greek god. And he was so sharp about math that he could explain all of existence with math. And so in modern times, we've sort of simplified it and taken the stuff we can use. And we have a modern numerology. And it's basically the alphabet is, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. But then you have your birthday, which is numbers. And everything pretty much reduces to 1 through 9. But I'm taking it to a different level. I'm saying, great, you're a 9. Where did that 9 come from? What did it reduce from? Yeah. So that's just in a nutshell. And if you want to know more, I'll tell you more.
Now, math has been around for a long time. Probably since the dawn of the solar system. Yeah. I mean, our universe, everything is numbers. Everything can be described with numbers.
Yeah. Pythagoras was the guy that did all that. Yeah. He had it all figured out. Yeah.
And we wonder how much of that information is lost or is now becoming is being rediscovered.
Yes. I would say, as a coach, I work with people that have different learning styles, and not everybody can take in numbers. That's more of an auditory digital kind of almost a computer or engineering mind. Yeah. And so there's people that learn visually, and there's people that learn by listening and touching. And so what we've done, I think, is taken some of these things and made them more, where we can receive them in different ways. Mm. Mm. So numbers can have, like a 1 is a trailblazer or a pioneer. So when I say those words, you have, a sense of what that means.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a guy slashing, vines to get through, I'm a trailblazer. I'm doing something that no one's done before. Or I'm number 1, which might be a certificate, or one of those ribbons, number 1. So there's ways to visually represent the numbers. And it's just, they try to keep it 1 through 9. Most numerologists are working with 1 through 9 when they give you your materials. And that's great. It's great to know I'm a 9. It's great to know I'm a humanitarian, but what kind of a humanitarian am I? Yeah. Do I work in soup kitchens, or am I traveling? Am I what I am? It's just a business humanitarian.
Yeah, there's all different levels. There's all different types, and it's.
So I don't know if we're losing it, but we're retranslating it, maybe not explaining it very well.
Yeah.
But it's very, very helpful to know what your numbers are, because those are your themes, and your birthday are the themes that of the things you need to work on in this lifetime. They're the things that, like the jobs you get will be things you need to work on, but behaviors, skill sets you need to work on, like communication, or the ability to organize things, or the ability to create a system around a job.
Yeah.
That gives you those insights for your birthday. And then your name is your destiny, where you're headed. And so that's also helpful if you have a sense of what the gap is between where you are and where you might be headed.
Yeah. There's all these relations too. Now there's like a metaphysical aspect and the traditional aspect of numerology. What is the metaphysical aspect of numerology?
That I think the metaphysical is that there's a spiritual agreement you made that you may not remember because you're here with all this noise that's going on. And so to know what the themes are, what your numbers are, it gives you more meaning to your life. And also there's people that are very successful that are doing what they need to do and aren't sure about it. They're giving it their best. They're following their intuition, but they're wondering, am I following God's plan, or am I following the universe's plan, or am I doing what I'm supposed to do, the reason I'm here? So this kind of validates it. And people say, well, I don't believe in that. It's like, okay, fine. But when I tell you, what happens is they go, oh my God, that's like, you nailed it. Or yes, that's exactly it. So really the tipping point is that it resonates.
Yeah. And that was going to segue into my next question or observation too, is how many aha moments, these epiphanies that people get, that maybe, don't really believe in it, skeptical about it. But then once you give them just a tidbit of information and suddenly they go, whoa, you just opened up a door, and they have a little bit of a realization of their direction.
It connects. Yeah, it does. And I tend to try not to say to you, you are this or you are that. What I try to do with the way I speak is to say, this is what this insinuates, or that's not even the word I use. This is what this implies. Mm-hmm. Does any of that make sense to you? And usually they're like, my God, that's just like exactly. Or I'll say, well, what do you do for a living? And they're going, that, so. Yeah. It's a gift. It's really a gift because it can be learned. Yeah. It's very easy to learn if you aren't scared of numbers. It's very easy to learn. And you can have a cheat sheet, where you could go and say, okay, this is what this is. And then you have guidelines for, your intuition.
Yeah. You can use it as a tool to where if somebody is a medium or has that psychic part of themselves, they can pick up on other information outside and go, oh, now I'm picking this up. Kind of like using divination, like tarot or.
Yes. And tarot is great. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you call them? The stones that you work.
Oh, the runes.
Runes are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even used music. I was in a Bible class, Old Testament class one time. It was metaphysical, Old Testament. And I was like, how come God doesn't speak to us anymore? Like he spoke to Abraham about Isaac, how come? And I was like, he probably is, but we can't hear it because of the radio and the television and all the noise that's on. And so I thought, okay, so how's he talking to us now? Probably he is talking to us. So I started doing this thing where I would ask myself a question in the car and then hit the radio. And I had great success with getting answers.
Wow.
Because whatever was on was that line of the song, was like the answer right there. I was like, oh, that's really uncanny.
So you've picked up, I have given you before we
I asked you for your birth name and your birth date, so we wouldn't have to do that and slow anybody down. But I thought, I thought, what better example than to just talk to you about it? And I haven't told you much about it.
And you know nothing about me. We didn't sit on the phone or did this prior. This is the very first time that we have actually seen or talked to each other.
That's right. And that's usually the kind of people I'm talking to also.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I attract what you are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to explain that. So
Right.
I asked Dr. Paul what his birthday was, and I took his month and I took his day, and I didn't reduce anything. And then I took the year. And if you were born in the 1900s, which sounds so long time ago, but it isn't.
Doesn't it? Yeah. Oh,
But
man.
if you're born in 1900, let's say you were born in 1980, the 1 and the 9 and the 8 and the 0 get added. And so you can do it the long way, and you can go 1 plus 9 is 10 plus 8 is 18. 0 is 0. But the fast way to do it is to know that the 1 and the 9 are always 10. So I always go to the second two numbers and say, okay, what are those? And then I add 10 to it, and it goes really fast. So in your case, yours went to 24. Yours added up, your two second numbers added up to 14, and then that 10, that 1 and 9 made it a 24. So you came out to 56 points, and 56 points reduces to 11. 5 and 6 make 11. So it's 56/11, and 1 and 1 is 2, which is a 2. So traditional numerology will tell you, modern numerology will say, Paul's a 2. Well, that's not very fair to Paul, because he is actually an 11/2 or 56/11/2. Now, are you following me on this?
I'm
see?
following. Yeah, I see the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, when your 2 is coming from 11, you are a master number. 11, 22, 33, 44, all the way up to 99. Those are all master numbers. And in the case of an 11, you're a spiritual light messenger. And I attract spiritual light messengers, coincidentally. And this was something I wanted to do. I worked on this for a while. Spiritual light messengers often have discomfort going on in their lives, where they're wondering, what else is there? What am I supposed to be doing? What's wrong? I'm not very happy. And it's because they don't know they're a spiritual light messenger. And if they did, they would know they have a message, and they have to figure out their message. And if no one told you that you have a message to figure out, you're sensing it, but you don't know what's wrong. I think you do know what your message is. Your message is to teach people about other things other than the normal life we're in, so that they can appreciate it, they can see it, and they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, helping people find a direction that are lost.
Yep. So you're at your age already doing your birthday are your lessons, right? Those are the things you're supposed to be working on and honing. And so you're doing it, which is nice to know. If you're at a certain point in your life, it's nice to know you're on the right track, and you are. And your 11 is coming from a 5 and a 6. It could be coming from a 4 and a 7. It could be coming from a 2 and a 9. There's a lot of different ways to do 11. Yours is coming from 5 and 6. Okay, so the 5 is a very expansive person. They teach, they sell, they preach, they travel. They're kind of a jack of all trades. They bring in information from a lot of different directions.
Got that right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the 6 is, the lesson here is that you need to create foundations for others. You're creating paths for others so that they can move forward. So the podcast, your interests, your credentials, all are reaffirming and help people come to you and help people move forward from what you provide for them. Again, perfect for what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So then the next thing that is important for this is, okay, well, where's this all leading? Because that's current state. That's what you do. And you're doing a good job of it.
Thank you.
Yes. And now where's it headed? So where it's headed is your birth name. And I asked you for your legal name, your birth name, the name you got on a birth certificate. And even if your birth certificate had a misspelling on it, we would have used it with the misspelling, because that's the universe tweaking it a little bit. Okay. But you didn't have that. So we just took it, and you're a junior. and you're a doctor and stuff, those titles are not part of your spiritual metaphysical side of it. So I just took it, and your name adds up to 73. So again, if you were doing this, if the listeners were doing this, you would draw 1 through 9 across a page, leave a little space between each number. Then you would put the alphabet across. And when you ran out of room for that, you'd start the second line and the third line. So you'd have your 1s, your 2s, your 3s, your 4s. And so you can do your own name, figure it out. Yeah. And then the only thing I want to say about that is Y is a vowel sometimes. So you have to keep that in mind. But actually, that doesn't matter for what we're talking about. So, because I didn't dissect your name like that. Anyway, so you're 73. So 7 and 3 adds up to 10, and 1 and 0 adds up to 1. So your destiny is to be a trailblazer, to be original, and to maybe be the first to do something. And that might be hard to see right now because you're in the middle of this. But because you're starting now, you're fairly young, you've got a lot of years ahead of you, it may morph into other things. Yeah. And it may be something very original before it's over.
There's something in the works. Something.
Yeah. Okay. And you might even have a glimpse of that.
Yeah.
You might, but you might not. And it doesn't matter, because the way I look at it is, if you're on the path of your birth date, which is that 5, the 6, the 11, and the 2. We didn't really talk about what 2 means. 2 is keeping balance. Yeah. Think of 2 things.
Yeah.
If you're on that path, it will lead you, because you're doing what you're supposed to do on a daily basis. It'll lead you to your destiny. But it's nice to know what your destiny is. Mine is to be a global humanitarian. And when you work for companies and you're in the corporate world and stuff, it's really hard to see the humanitarian, and it's really hard to see the global unless you're in a global group.
Yeah.
But as soon as I lost my corporate job and somebody said, do you want to debrief assessments for people that are all over the world? Some are in Singapore, some are in Europe. I went, yes, because I'm global.
Yeah.
So you start, it gives you the guts or the confidence to just say, yep, I'm global someday, so I might as well get used to all this stuff.
And you're global here, being on a show. Everybody from all over the world.
I mean, I'm so used to it, I don't even see it anymore. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm really used to it. Yeah. I talk to people all the time in all the countries. And I had a government contract for a while where I was even talking to people in the Middle East and Africa.
Wow.
Which was interesting because we have military stations around. Yeah. So anyway, back to you, a 73, 10, 1. So ultimately to do something original or trailblazing, and that 1 was a 10. So the 10 makes it lucky. Zeros are lucky. It makes it blessed. Blessed is the way I would prefer to say it, but to translate it, it makes you lucky. And then the 10 is coming from a 7 and a 3. And again, it could have come from a 4 and a 6, a 5 and a 5, a 1 and a 9, right? But yours is a 7 and a 3. So 3 is about communication. What are we doing right now?
Yeah.
We're talking, we're communicating. And it's a way of communicating. It isn't just talking. It's a way of getting out there. And 7 is the best way I think about it is it's a system. It's a mental exercise. It's, 7s are monks or philosophers or someone who's a scientist who's following and possibly creating some kind of system that others can follow. Yeah. And so in this case, communicating a system that others can follow, that trailblazes, and I would go back to your birth date, creates paths for others.
Wow. And seven's been very prominent in my life. All my life. 7's always come up in.
That's one of your favorites. Huh?
Yeah. 7's always been one of those numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
what did it mean to you? When you found 7, you resonated to it, but did it mean anything?
I don't think so. I never really put.
Never thought about why.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
stuck to being conscientious of it and start recording it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I was in college, so I'm a 99 for my destiny. And for my birth date, I'm a 9, 36-9. And what's interesting, I didn't know about this when I was in college, but when I took sociology and psychology, we studied Weltschmerz, which is a word for world pain. I don't know why they taught us it. I don't understand. But when they talked about it, I went, oh my God, that's me. I have world pain. And I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that that word really meant a lot to me. And it was nice to know that there was like an energy like that.
Wow.
And when I was in college, I was or maybe it was right after college, I was really frustrated that there was no map. And I was in a personal growth series of workshops and, where you sit in the audience and they're up on the stage and they're working on concepts with you and stuff. And one of my questions was, well, where's the map? Where do we get a map to know what we're supposed to do? Because I'm like a spiritual light messenger myself. I'm kind of like, show me what I'm supposed to do. And because I have all this energy and all this drive to do something and I don't know where to put it. And they said, there's no map. And I was devastated. I didn't like that at all. I think I was about 27, which is kind of a tough age anyway, because your brain is just sort of finishing up being more adult. And it's a hard time. That 22 to 27 is hard. But anyway, I created a map. So that's what the Soulwork Maps is about. And it was interesting because it was during the pandemic when I answer a lot of questions on Quora. And people were just in so much angst about losing their careers or being a teenager and not getting to go out and get drunk with their friends, or, being a 20-year-old and not being able to party. And, there was just all this, I'm losing my life kind of stuff. And then there was the older people that were actually losing their industries.
Oh, yeah.
And losing their purpose, and the entrepreneurs that actually had good businesses. And then, now what? And I thought, well, if I was their coach, then this is what I would suggest. And I kept doing that. I kept hearing myself say that. And I thought, well, I can't be their coaches, but how could I make this simpler? How could I direct people to what they could do? And if they want my help, great, but how could they do it themselves? And so that's how I created the soul. I started experimenting.
Yeah.
And I created this combination of 2 really common business assessments and the numerology. And then I thought, well, it would be nice if there was a map. So I looked at Chutes and Ladders. I looked at the Game of Life. I looked at, well, how would I do this? And now I have, you'll see if you go to the website that there's a map, and the map has a legend, and the pieces of the legend are all those 3 assessments.
Yep. There it is. And for those who are listening, you can go to www.soulworkmaps.com.
With an S, maps. Yeah.
With an S, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can see it. And it's the same for everybody, but the legends are unique to everyone. So the map looks the same. It's symbolic. It isn't necessarily in order, but it's symbolic of what you're doing. You're following 2 paths to get to the lighthouse where the destiny is. You're passing the 2 assessments. One of them is the fascination assessment, which tells you how people see you. So what's valuable about that is once you realize what you're supposed to be doing, where you might be going, well, it's useful to know how people see you. Do they see you as someone that might go to that destiny? So that is really helpful. And then the mountains represent the Strengths Finder assessment, which is a Gallup assessment. And a lot of people have taken that one through church or through work. It's a really great team building tool.
Yeah.
And it gives you your top 5 talents that you're using to survive in life. We all have different ones. And there's only 34. So what they do is they break down your top 5 for you. And then we can tell how you're going to attack this. How are you, like with you being a spiritual light messenger, if we knew your Gallup top 5, we would be able to say how you're going to go about it.
That might be something you can work on.
We could talk about that, or you can just do it on your own. So you can go to gallup.com and get the list of, you can do it for like $10 or $20 and just get the top 5, or you can get the 34 for, I don't know, like $60.
Yeah. Gallup.
All of it's very affordable. That was the other thing, was make it affordable so that it isn't thousands of dollars to do this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm available. You know, if somebody wants to talk it out with somebody, then that's a whole nother issue. But, you know, I'm still, if you go to the website and you want to talk to me, you can still send me emails. Just Timi@soulworkmaps.com. And I'm there to tell you what I, you know, can think about it or offer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you and say, you know, just a general map, just to start out, what is the normally somebody wants? Hey, I just want some general information, numerology. What it's birthday,
$99 type thing. You know, it's under $100 type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Make it really, really accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know, I do executive coaching, which is fairly sophisticated, but this is my passion. I mean, this is what I want to do.
Now, do you it's not only an individual thing. Have you also did numerology for like a business?
I haven't done it that way for this. I like everything to be very practical and really resonate. And what I would do if somebody came to me and said, I want to name my business this, or my business is named this, can you tell me what the numerology is? I could do that and talk it out and say, do you think this resonates for you? And whenever I create a business, I always do the numbers just to see. And before I buy a house, I always do the address. Yeah. I just make sure, you know, that it feels like it's, because you don't know what you're getting into sometimes, you know, and so it just does it feel like it's going to be okay.
And then sometimes, if you agree, destiny plays the numbers for you.
Yeah. Yes. Let's see. I would say that we're not stuck in anything. We're not stuck in our destinies, and that's why I also tend to stay vague about things and not say you should do this, because first of all, the world is changing really fast.
Oh yeah.
Second of all, it should fit your personality. And there's so many ways to do something. You know, that you don't have to really be stuck in a certain identity. I think the jobs of the future are going to be the job you used to have and the job you want combined. They're going to be a lot of combined jobs. Not the clear kind of stuff we have now. And I think ultimately much more intuition, much more metaphysics. And I've been hired to be metaphysical. I have been recruited several times because they heard me speak or they saw me do something and said, you is what we want in our company. And I didn't have any competition. They just brought me in, you know, and said, fix this. And they would give me a list of things to do. And they'd say, nobody can do this. We're not sure that you can, and we won't be mad if you can't. But here's some things we can't get fixed. And I could do it. So it's pretty cool to be wanted like that. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to tell the audience is that another thing you can do with numerology is you can know what the theme of your year is. So you take your month and your day, and then you take the year. You have to do it when your birthday is. So if your birthday isn't till November, this doesn't become true until November of that year. So you would use the year before. So you can tell what your theme of your year is. And I have created a system where you can plug your birthday in, and for 99 years, you can see what the themes are every year, and you can see reoccurring themes. So if something happened at a certain time, you could see if it was going to happen again, because it does. It happens again. It just happens in a fresh way or a different,
like a cycle.
Yeah, it's cycles, and the themes are there. And so when I was creating this map, I finally figured it out, and I was in a 17 year for me. And I was like, oh, this is a lot of work. I don't know how fast I can get this done. La, 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 all the things that play on you to stop.
Yeah.
And so, well, the next year was my destiny year. And I was like, well, if next year's my destiny year, I should hurry up and get this done. So I just went, okay, fine. I've got 9 months. And I just went right through it. I spent the money, I spent the time, I stopped everything else, and I just did it. And I was ready when my destiny year came, when my birthday came, to go into it. And so I call those years right before an opportunity like that of lining up with my destiny. I call those years before opportunity portals. So it's a portal. You enter it and you get out of it within whatever time it is. So it's not more than 12 months, and it could be 3 months, or in my case, it was about 9. Huh. And it was cool because it was a lot of work and a lot of money, and I could control that.
Yeah. Were you able to pull not destiny
on you?
A theme?
A year for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what we would do is take that month and that day.
That's the birth month, right?
Yep. And then 2024, because you've already had your birthday, and that's an 8. So, interesting. Okay, so you're in a 4 year, and that 4 is coming from 40 points. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I would say to you about it. It's good. It's really good. Yeah. So a 4 year is a year where you're just dealing with practical, productive. 4 is practical, productive, traditional, a very get it done kind of a vibe. Okay. And what's great about the 40 is that the 0 makes it lucky, makes it blessed. So whatever you're touching, whatever you're trying to do, odds are it's going to go pretty well. It's going to be easy. And so if you're at a 40 year this year, you'll be in a 41, a 42, a 43. So you're coming out of the 3s, which were creative and communicative. And now you're in a kick-ass kind of a vibe.
Yep.
Yeah. And so if you're trying to make more money, if you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to prove something, this is the best. I'm down in the teens and the 2s now, which, I used to be in those before 2000 came. I was in all that stuff, and I was just like knocking it out. And now it's more, I have to work. I have to be more original. I have to balance. I'm the one that goes in and calms everybody down. And I looked at that a couple of years ago, and I thought, geez, I'm only getting older. I don't want to work that hard. Right. And it's like, it's not going to change. Right. So I just went, okay, I'm going to eat this for breakfast. So I just started changing my attitude and working on being really good at assessing stuff. And now no stress. It just excites me.
Yeah. Now, aside from helping people with mapping their journey, you also teach the methods? I
started there, and people wanted me to do it. They wanted to hear me talk about it. If I ever get enough people that want to learn it themselves because they want to be disciples, so to speak, then yes. But right now, everybody just wants to hear about it. It's kind of a new concept to take 3 different things and put them into a 4th product, to combine it like that.
Well, put me on the list.
Okay. All right. You might want to learn it. Well, so I could do that. I mean, we could do that one-on-one. We could practice with a whole bunch of different people that or you could try what we've talked about today and then come back to me and go, okay, I want you to give me a session or 2, maybe 30 minutes at a time. Yeah. And just talk through what am I missing here? What am I not getting? I think the biggest thing that people don't get is, like when I said you were a 5611, they'll say to me, where's the 11 coming from? Because it's obvious, but not if you don't understand what's happening. 5 plus 6 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. And it's that simple. But because it seems mysterious and sophisticated, people miss that. But it's really easy. And I'm going to keep it easy. I want it, people say, well, do you do this? Do you do that? I'm focused on one thing. What's your purpose? Where are you going? And how can we use it? And everybody, I'll let the other numerologists help you with the other stuff. I want you to make meaning out of your life. I want you to have purpose. I want you to know you did a good job and to be courageous.
Yeah. So before we start wrapping up stuff, where can give our audience where they can find you?
Right.
And
okay, well, the easiest would be Timi, which is 4 letters, Timi at soulworkmaps.com.
Cool.
And then I think what I want to do is, if you ask me, give you a cheat sheet so that you can have the real simple kind of keyword definitions of each of the 9 numbers.
Yeah.
Now, some people might say, well, my God, she's really oversimplifying this. There's a 56 definition out there. Yeah, it's true. But you know what? It's not very practical. It's kind of out here somewhere. And if you just know what a 5 is and what a 6 is, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you really need to know is just what are you working on here? What is the goal? So mine's a 30, my birthday's 36 points. So I'm a 3 and a 6 that make up a 9. Okay. It really helps me to know that 9 is coming from the 3 and the 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means 3, communicate, talk, express myself, and be creative. That's a 3. And I've always been creative. So I'm in a business situation, be creative. Don't stifle your creativity just because you're in a corporation. Yeah. But the communication, I was brought in as a human resources director. I had been a state employee. I was never in a human resources office. I was never even an assistant or a supervisor. I went right to the top, and I had to learn how to talk. And I went into a troubled company on top of that. So they were angry at HR. They were angry at the company. And I had to talk and just use my skills. So since I'm kind of verbal anyway, what does it mean for me to be communicative? Well, learn how to mediate, learn how to deal with conflict, learn how to explain strategy, learn how to articulate and write, which is communication, the job descriptions that weren't there, the ways to work up the ladder. None of that stuff was there. So that was for me, those sophisticated communication levels. And then I didn't love it, but the other part of it is a 6, which is creating foundations for others. Well, when you're creating job descriptions, when you're making sure that people are getting paid or resolving pay issues or making sure they're getting raises and that stuff, you're creating foundations so that people can move forward in their lives.
Yeah.
And so then it became very meaningful to me to have a job like that. And I got promoted. I got grabbed away by another company and made a corporate HR person. It's like, if you just understand what you're supposed to do, you don't have to go through all these levels of proving yourself and, doing all these lower jobs. I mean, I had done some lower jobs, but
yeah, when people have a sense of purpose and they feel that they belong and there is a direction, people become more productive.
Mm-hmm. And they're more courageous. They're more courageous and they step up. And, I think for me, that's what was happening is I was stepping up. I was following a general path of confidence and that kind of thing. Man. When I was 25, I had just graduated from college, and just by a series of coincidences, I ended up being the state of California, county of San Diego, Southeast Asian refugee coordinator.
Wow.
That's big for 25.
That is.
And I had just graduated. Yeah. But it was because they sent me out to the college where I had just graduated from to register all these people that were going to be stuck here in the United States that were from Southeast Asia. Yeah. And I learned their names. And because I was willing to learn their names for 3 different countries, or how to say the names, they were like, well, we don't want to learn the names. Let her do it. So. Man. Yeah. So anyway, you're going to do Timi at soulworkmaps.com, and you can write to me personally and I'll respond. Cool. And I'm on LinkedIn too. That would be another way. It's LinkedIn. Timi, Timi Gleason, Gleason. And you can say that you heard me on the podcast and ask to connect if you would like to.
Yes, yes. And we'll have all of her information or her contact information in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
But so before we wrap it up, what would you like to offer as a takeaway for our
I think
guests?
that a cheat sheet would be really helpful for everybody, because what I'd like to encourage you to do is to figure this out for yourself and to do it for your friends and family. And to build confidence amongst yourselves. And if you need to talk to me, for a session or something, and just get some help on just getting it straight in your head, but it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you want to know the other two assessments and you want a soul work map, then we can talk about that.
Cool.
Yeah. I have my soul work map. Oh, I should have brought it over here. I have my soul work map framed in a white frame. It's it's 8.5 by 11, and it's in a white frame. And I have the map and then the legend in another white frame. And I have them across from my laundry room. So whenever I'm passing or stopping doing laundry, I can look at it and think about it, see if I'm on my path. And one of the things about the map that's kind of fun is in the middle and on the sides of all the other pathways, it shows all the things that stop us. Ooh. So it's got little, the choices we make, the perspectives that we have. I have a dog and a cat barking up the wrong tree, the things that we do to waste money and waste time, all those things that make us feel like we're losers and we're not. They're all distractions. Yeah, they're just they're little hiccups that we have to, actually what we have to just overcome and kind of just dismiss it, because that's not why we're here. It's like being on the path to the Wizard of Oz. You get off the path and then you have to get back on, and you have a goal, and all these things are meant to try to discourage you, and you don't need to be discouraged. And so hopefully knowing your numbers really helps you know that you're on the right track, or get on the right track, or that you've been on the right track. Mm-hmm. And it prepares you. And I was thinking about, when people during the pandemic were sick and they were in bed and they couldn't do anything. Still, I think if you know your purpose, you could still treat the people that are caring for you, or you could, while you're recuperating, do things to be on the right track. It just would be different than what you would prefer.
Yeah, there's always a way around certain obstacles or situations and stuff.
But when you're depressed or when you're scared, it's hard to think straight. So if you have those numbers to fall back on, like I can't be a humanitarian in bed so much, but I can be a good communicator from bed if somebody's helping me and I'm not feeling well.
Yeah.
And I can listen to people and do things to in the world of change management, sometimes you just have to live day to day until you get to the other side. There's the ending, and then you kind of struggle in the uncertainty for a while, and then there's new beginnings. And in that uncertainty, you have to just kind of go day to day and just do a good job every day. We went through that with cancer with my daughter, and you can't make it go away. You have to play it out, and you just have to do a really good job every day till it's hopefully over.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Timi,
any other thoughts, questions?
I can't think of any other than let's stay in contact.
Yeah, I would love to.
Definitely.
I would love to. I'm even looking for collaborators, people that are doing, like, I would love other numerologists who are able to work with double numbers who would take this beyond what I'm offering, because I just want to focus on this one niche area. I want to help people. I want the spiritual light messengers to know they have a message.
Yeah.
I want them to know who they are. I want people with destinies like mine, double nines, to know that. As a 9, I was doing soup kitchens. I was, going into convalescent hospitals. I didn't like any of it. And I thought, I must really be screwed up. Huh. But I wasn't screwed up. I'm a global business humanitarian. I didn't belong in a soup kitchen, and I didn't belong locally, and I didn't belong in a convalescent hospital.
Yeah.
And so it was a relief.
Yeah. That project that I said that I have in the works, I'll share that with you.
All right.
On the side, and
you're on.
Get your opinion on it. The website is published.
Okay.
It's just now getting with the right people.
Yep.
And looking for ambassadors.
Yep.
worldwide. This is global.
Right. You guys
And
listening, right? All you audience
yep,
people.
hopefully everybody's listening. This is a global thing,
Mhm.
and there is a niche for it, but it's for all of mankind. It's for
Mhm.
all of humanity.
Well, that fits with the way your numbers are going. So yeah, let's do that. And of course, that's a wonderful thing for me to be able to help people with, right? To give
Mm,
my opinion and then to, say what else I see and that kind of thing. So that would be great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's true of all of you that are listening, that if
yeah.
you
I
have
mean,
some big ideas, we're the kind of people that are not your traditional people that can help you see through, intuitively
mhm.
what else is possible.
And Conscious Radio Network in general, and with the Seance being the podcast show for it, is it's a building a community. All our
Yes.
subscribers, our listeners, our followers, it's building a community, getting people aware of these things that
The
can
bigger picture.
change. Yeah, look at the bigger picture. Step
Mhm.
step outside of ourselves, and let's view the world in a
Yes.
different way
Yes.
to help create a better and more
Yes. And
sustainable future.
I think that's really valuable, even with the AI. I'm really encouraging all my clients to learn how to use AI on the most basic of
Hmm.
levels,
Yeah.
because we aren't going to stop this. It's
No.
way bigger than we are. And so we need
Yeah.
to adapt to it and find ways to keep it honest and keep it
Hmm.
safe.
Now I have a guest coming up. I got a guest coming up in about a month or so. He's one of the AI founders he's one of the pioneers of AI and crypto and
Oh.
some blockchain
Hmm.
technology,
Hmm.
to where the AI or his system will be decentralized. There's no centralized part of AI where it can't be controlled.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
which we know what happens when somebody or a particular
Yep.
body of individuals wants to control something. It becomes very biased.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
And it's also a real task when you're trying to deal with a nation like ours that's so diverse
Yeah.
geographically and ethnically, to try to create rules that work for everybody. It's very, very
Yeah.
hard. Now, when you're thinking globally, well, the different experiences of the different levels of world countries, and it's hard.
Very,
It's
very.
hard. I don't even know really how any president of the United States copes with the job. I don't. I mean, when I get into another state and I drive around and I think, boy, these people sure live differently than I do. I live in San Diego, a city in California, the sixth largest economy in the world, and my
Wow.
reality is different than these people.
Yeah.
And so how do we all vote the same way? How do we all perceive problems the same way? I think
Hmm.
that's why metaphysics is really important.
Very, very. It enables us to expand the mind, expand the
Right. And we
consciousness,
have certain
and
things in common. We can find what's really like the root cause and what's our root commonalities and that kind of thing.
yeah,
Yes, I
the
agree. Hmm.
tapping into the collective.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from you and any of you
definitely.
that are
Likewise,
listening. Hmm.
definitely. Likewise. Timmy, thank you. Blessings, my
You're
friend.
welcome.
You
Thank you,
are a
Dr.
blessing to everybody, and thank you again for joining us and sharing your work
Yes, you're
with
welcome. Thanks for
with
the
the world.
opportunity. It's
Yeah.
great to talk to someone who gets it.
Exactly. And I'm sure our guests, or not guests, but I'm sure our audience is going to go, what? Awesome.
Well, bring it on, folks.
Yep.
All
Thank you,
right.
everybody, for tuning in to Conscious Radio Network's The Seance, and we will see you next week.